is one of the largest global institute.
Many people still do not know about the institute. One of the largest affiliates of IIA India. We have about 2,60,000 plus members.
What has got changed? Why this change was needed? Hi everyone, with us we have Mr. Mukundan from IIA India, the CEO for IIA India. Thank you so much, Mr. Mukundan, to join the podcast for Global Professional Certifications. So I think we have a couple of questions for you because we have been getting lot of queries on the risk assurance advisory domain, and it's very important to share a lot of insights. So I'll be taking a couple of minutes of you, Mr. Mukundan, to share some of the industry insights for our audience.
Thank you, Arpit, and thank you for the warm welcome. I'm more than glad that first time I'm coming to GPC and we are able to spend some good time, and I should be able to answer some of the questions what you were asking.
Thank you. So let's start with what about IIA India? Like we know that IIA India is one of the largest global institute in the domain for specializing on the professionals for employed professions. Would you like to share some insights in terms of what IIA India offer to their members in terms of various training programs, various courses, so that people can get as much as benefits out of it?
Thank you again, Arpit. It is a very valid question, and today there are many people still do not know about the Institute of Internal Auditors. Just to give you a brief, this is established in 1941 in the United States. We are one of the largest affiliates of IIA India, operate about 170 countries, and as I speak to you, we have about 2,60,000 plus members globally.
Wow.
And out of that, 200,000 plus members are CIA, Certified Internal Auditors. The premier programs what we offer is, the flagship program is Certified Internal Auditor. It has started in 1975, and we also have two more certifications. One is the Internal Audit Practitioner, which is currently, as per the new syllabus, it is the paper 1 of the CIA examination.
Okay.
We also have a CRMA, which is more specialization for the risk management professionals. So both internal audit professionals and the risk professionals, they have a lot to do with the internal audit, the Institute of Internal Auditors.
Very nice. So you mentioned three critical flagship programs, which is IAP, Internal Audit Practitioner, which is most likely for people who are starting their journey. Then the second is the biggest flagship program, which is we are talking about CIA, Certified Employer. And the third is CRMA, Certified Risk Management Assurance Professional, which is more specialized into risk management domain, right?
Absolutely, Arpit. All the three are, and particularly the CIA, that is Certified Internal Audit Examination, and the IAP, both have undergone some syllabus changes.
So would you like to share some insights of what has got changed, why this change was needed, and how it will impact in terms of learning and in terms of maybe better exposure to the existing professionals as well as an aspirant who is looking to build their career in risk assurance and advisory domain?
Again, an excellent question. So let me start with the IAP. So IAP was in place maybe for several decades. It is basically intended for the undergraduate students, and this examination which was conducted in the past in the IAP, it had no relationship with the CIA course in the past. Of course, some of the course contents were similar. At the same time, it was not having any significant value addition from those who are pursuing as a Certified Internal Auditor. Currently, what has been done is that the paper 1 of the CIA, there are 3 papers as you know for the CIA examination, those who go for the regular 3-part examination route, and out of that, paper 1 has been converted into IAP, that is Internal Audit Practitioner. So as you know, paper 1 is more to do with the global internal audit standards, and that is a related area. So those who do the IAP, it is a progressive step for them. If you have done the IAP, then you need to appear only the remaining 2 papers for the CIA, and you get the complete certification of the CIA. Right. So that really helps. And earlier this relationship was not there. You do the IAP, then you go for 3 papers of the CIA. That used to be the pattern. So 28th of May 2025 onward, this syllabus has undergone changes.
Very nice. So in that case, we are saying that if anyone who is starting and maybe at an initial stage and want to start with not just completing their CIA, they can start with IAP, complete their IAP, and they get an internal audit practitioner certification by clearing one part of CIA. And if they feel that this is really adding value and they want to continue, they can continue just by doing the balance part of part 2 and part 3 of CIA, and they complete the whole CIA as well.
Absolutely. So that is
Lovely.
what makes a lot of difference for this, and particularly if you have some experience in the internal audit, or if you are a practitioner of internal audit, then you can even pursue directly as well part 1, part 2, part 3.
Okay, and directly
but
to
more or less you can the same benefit you get through doing with the IAP also today. If you
Lovely.
are particularly the undergraduate and you don't know what exactly the internal audit, then we recommend them they can go with the IAP, and with the IAP they should continue this one, and then they can continue for the remaining parts once they clear the IAP examination.
So this is fantastic. I think people can now do one certification and leverage the same for a global flagship program and continue for just the balance part. I think that's very, very interesting. So Mukundan, what do you think in terms of the new syllabus? Like in terms of old syllabus with the new global audit standards coming in, there is lot of queries that are coming up in terms of from the industry, from the learned professionals, that what has got really under change. And if we have to talk about, let's say, top few things that how the new global audit standards are impacting already to the domain, how is it going to really value add? Could you share some key insights of what has got changed, and of course, not just by doing the program, but leveraging these standards in day-to-day practice? How does people can run their employed functions probably better, and how as an employed professional from an individual standpoint of view they can leverage for a better delivery, which gives them credibility and a value-added proposition to their stakeholders?
Absolutely. So let me go back. In 1978, the Internal Audit Standards was released first time by the Institute of Internal Auditors. And as you know, the business environment undergo changes, and newer things do come in place, and the standards have undergone changes multiple times. The last time when the syllabus the global internal audit standards have undergone changes was after an elaborate process. So it was started about 3 to 4 years ago. There is a lot of consultation across the globe, different industry sectors, different levels of people like CAEs, finance directors, promoters, independent directors, and after consultation and getting all their viewpoints, the global internal audit standards were revamped, and on 9 January 2024 the Global Council adopted the new internal audit standards. So for example, when I did the internal audit, started my career in 1986. So we had nothing called even a data analytics. Today, without a data analytics, you cannot function. Similarly, there was nothing called cyber security, because cyber itself, we did not have interconnected systems those days. So first and foremost, it is necessary that we update the global internal audit standards according to the business ecosystems, which have significantly undergone changes, and that is one of the requirement where we felt that the global internal audit standards, and it is a continuous process, maybe after a few years again this will undergo changes relating to that. So when the global internal audit standard is the fundamental on which the entire internal audit profession is dependent upon, so it was also necessary that the related training, the certifications also undergo changes. Similarly, the topical requirements, for example, cyber security, artificial intelligence, there are multiple similar areas on the topical requirements as well.
About TPRM as one, ERM as one.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely,
lovely.
absolutely. So unless and until all these things are taken into consideration for developing a certification for the purpose of developing the students, the career of the students for this one, it would not have been possible for them to deliver well. So it is a holistic approach. We first develop the standards, then we create the certifications, we ensure that these things are trained well across the globe, whether you are in Australia, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in Europe, or whether in Latam, everywhere you get the same. So that exactly is the objective of the IIA as a global organization.
Very nice. So I think very, very important touch points that you mentioned because of the new global audit standards. The current requirements of the business environments is important to understand, and I think this is where there's lot of significant effort that has been done globally with lot of critical stakeholders sharing their views to build this up. And correctly mentioned that in terms of critical risk from a cybersecurity standpoint of view to third-party risk management, auditing even culture-related aspects, is emerging and is very, very critical for any organization, and which is where the new global audit standards are touching upon. Lovely. Another important point, Mr. Mukundan, is very, very frequently we keep getting these queries that, okay, I'm a chartered accountant. Or let's say for that matter, I am already having an experience of 15 years. I'm let's say a vice president of ABC organization or a AVP of a ABC organization. How do you think that people who are qualified in the respective geographies can still leverage by doing something like CIA, and why do you think it is important for them that, okay, let's say if I am a chartered accountant, I've already spent so much of my time doing some of a most valuable course, and especially in commerce domain, and I'm talking for people who are just probably entering the domain, or people in fact having a couple of years. Why do you think that doing CIA will really help them, and how do you see this as an industry demand? From an industry demand standpoint of view, do you still think that, okay, by not doing CIA, does it really impact, or people are really seeing it as more valuable or more specific in terms of the industry demand? So I would request you to share some insights on industry demand from a perspective of being a CA or any other qualification one has.
So let me talk first about the chartered accountancy, because I also started my career as my first professional qualification was chartered accountancy, and I became a career internal auditor right from my first employment. So as a chartered accountant, you have option to become a finance manager, you can be a taxation expert, you can be an accountant, or you can be an expert, an internal auditor, and multiple other options are always available relating to that. Now, how do you, because if you look at the entire examination syllabus of the CA Chartered Accountancy, auditing is one of the paper, remaining all other papers are also there.
Right.
Whereas in the certified internal auditor, the examination itself is focused only on the internal audit. It doesn't cover anything else relating to that. So initial 20 years when I was an internal auditor, mainly working in a large corporate as well as my own practicing setup, I did a reasonably good job, but the situation was like this. There was hardly any changes in the governing ecosystem, the business entrepreneur. You see, businesses in those days in India, this was before the reforms time. Then there was, we were not connected with globally. We were protected industries. Whatever we were doing was considered to be the best in the world. And we thought that this one. The moment reform started, we are no longer an India-based organization. We are globally connected. Absolutely. Even villages are globally connected. It just with the internet and fully, the proliferation of internet has made the even villages are globally connected today. They understand what is happening across the globe. So it was necessary that you have an internationally accredited qualifications in the area of GRC. So that is where the space of the certified internal auditor came up. So I did my CIA in the year 2010 when all this proliferation of the reforms was happening. So now if you take up these for GCCs in place, what I meant by GCC was Global Capability Centers. There are large number of people are deployed in the Global Capability Centers from multiple domains. It is not only the GRC space, GRC is one of the important space. So all the GCCs, they need an internationally accredited qualifications. It will not be possible that I am a chartered accountant, because when I was working for one of the GCC, one of the big four GCC, so I was definitely talking about as a academically merit holder in chartered accountancy. I just told them that yes, we have passed one of the most difficult examinations. So they recognize that. At the same day, told that you can't tell. We recognize the fact that CA is one of the most difficult examinations in the world. Absolutely. At the same time, we can't tell everybody in the globe that CA is such a difficult examination, they can do any work. Yeah. So the best way is that you pass our examination. So that is where it made me to do the CPA, and of course they sponsored everything those days, and definitely today. And it was not even CPA was not possible to be written those days in India. Yeah. And even then I went for the CIA, because then I realized the importance of the getting qualification, and between the age of 40 and 50 I acquired all these additional qualifications. So you can just imagine that at 23, 24 I passed chartered accountancy, and eventually of course it was a protected regime. There was no reforms in India, there was no global companies working in India. So that was the scenario those days, but that is not the scenario today. Absolutely. So you need to have a global qualification from this one. Now let me talk about the non-chartered accountancy people. So there are many people in internal auditors. If I estimate there are about 700,000 or 800,000 people, internal auditors, government auditors, defense auditors, railway auditors, chartered accountant communities, and so on. So that way it is a very fair, large in number considering the India population. Maybe I don't have I am just telling you a number, throwing in some numbers. So now many of them are not chartered accountants. Now even for them, for example, C&AG, which is one of the government auditor, and they are the auditors of United Nations, they are the auditors of WHO, they are the auditors of multiple other global organizations. So when they go for the audit, they definitely look for, because they are working with other counterparts of the other people, those who are coming from other countries. So when they have the CIA qualification, without the CIA qualification, they don't take you for that qualification. So even the Supreme Auditor of India, Controller and Auditor General of India today reimburse the CA examination fees, membership and everything for their employees. So you can just imagine that the recognition is not that as IIA India CEO, I am really proud of the fact that I popularized the CA examination. So there are definitely other bodies who are fully conversant with this fact that the CII is one of the certification which everybody should do, and even for their own organizations. There are multiple other organizations as well, those who give the reimbursement. But what we talked about a C&AG type of organization when they are talking about, so you can just imagine that that is something great from the CA's point of view.
So this is incredible. So I think we are now talking about a shift from a local mindset to a global mindset, not just by being in the global market, but actually by being in India, because India itself is a global market today, right? So absolutely important point, and this is not just limited for, of course, the aspirants, just not the employed aspirants, people who are trying to build on the domain, but people who are already there, they are also in need to kind of keep upskilling them to be with the global mindset. I think that's what we are summarizing from a overall perspective versus what was back 15 years back versus today. I think it's very, very important to have a global mindset. Lovely, lovely. So another important point, because you will be more closer to the numbers, and as a chartered accountant or as an internal auditor or as even any normal emerging professional, it's very, very exciting to hear about the numbers. How do you see, like you mentioned that globally we are talking about more than 200,000 members are active CIAs globally, but in terms of India landscape, how are you seeing, let's say last 2-3 years, what's the shift that you're seeing versus, of course, prior to those years it would have been probably a little slower shift, but how do you seeing in the last 2-3 years, and how are you expecting this for the future? So not like last 5 years old, but we want to hear more like recent last 2 years, 3 years, how you're seeing people really exploring, how are you seeing uplifting in terms of the training, active headcount, let's say initially when you started or when this all gets started popularized in India, while it was always there from a global market standpoint of view, the numbers how you're seeing is 5x, 10x, it will be exciting to hear some more insights on the numbers from you.
So excellent question. Now I believe that you are taking the role of my president, who asked me this question, what have you done? Because eventually last 2 years, that is where I took over as the role of the CEO. So you were asked that question, and I believe that he must be watching this as well. So let me tell you that when I took over about a couple of years ago, going to be 2 years, we had about 3,500 members or so in IIA India. We have already doubled the membership, in the last 2 years. So
lovely.
We had a history of maybe around 30-40 years. We had only 3,500 members.
Okay.
And last 2 years we have been able to make it more than double. And this journey will be continuing to be in the geometrical progression. So it will be, another 2 years, another 3 years, we will continue to have doubling the numbers and so on. So that will be the process, and I believe that with a lot many global capability centers coming into India, as well as there is a lot more demand, the expectations on the performance of the governance systems in the various organizations. Organizations are becoming bigger and bigger. So the importance of GRC will remain, and it will increase significantly. So for example, currently for the past 2 years, regulators' activism has significantly increased.
Absolutely.
For example, in the financing industry, the regulator has very clearly talked about the size of the audit department, the activities what they do and so on. So they are very, very clearly articulating, and they are being forcing particularly the financial regulatory industry, and similarly this will be replicated more with other regulators as well. So you also know that the NFRA is definitely focusing a lot more things relating to the statutory side of it, and similar things can come for the internal audit as well. The expectation is that eventually the GRC as a profession will be at the center stage, There will be a lot of expectations from the regulators, from the government, from other stakeholders, from the independent directors, SEBI and so on. So when these things do happen, definitely the demand for this one will increase significantly. There will be more and more certifications, there will be demand for more and more certifications. People will be coming for this again and again. And I have already told you in the previously about the GCC expectations relating to that.
Absolutely.
Because talent outside India is very limited. So India has a very incredible position to see that we have a young crowd, we have an educated crowd, particularly the urban and the rural village. There is no divide anymore, because definitely we have got enough crowd where they are ready to study and they are ready to come up for all these challenges and they go for this examination. So with the talent depleting outside and upcoming talent is available in India, so definitely we are going to have lot more demand for these courses, membership, trainings and so on.
Lovely. Thank you, Mr. Mukundan, for sharing the insight. Just one last question that I would like to ask you, and this is more for the audience, that how do you see, because people now keep asking that there are so many global certifications, right? So we have Certified Fraud Examiner, we have Certified Information System Auditor, we have in specialization in sustainability, of course CIA, then within CIA we have CRMA. And the growing demand, I'm not saying people want to stick to one. People are trying to really build on more. How do you think CIA from a overall perspective could be a good start as compared to maybe other domains? Could you share more insight in terms of that? I'm not saying we have to compare between the four, but how do you see that CIA could be an overall win?
Absolutely. So what happens is that upskilling is a continuous process. It is not that you have just passed one examination and you want to remain there, and particularly if you want to grow in the company, your career growth, upskilling is a continuous process. I will definitely first recommend that all these courses are complementary. None of these courses are competing with one with other.
Absolutely.
Each has its own value, and definitely these are complementary. So the first and foremost, if I take which one I should do first, there amongst this Certified Internal Auditor course is the best course to starting as a foundation, and you complete, get the experience, start working. Then subsequent, as part of the journey, the other courses are also suitable. For example, some of the related aspects relating to the information security is already examined in the Certified Internal Audit course.
Absolutely.
But it's not good enough, because CISA course it is much more specialization, and definitely that is something which when I did it in early 2000 or so, definitely it has given me value. But I believe that I should have done CIA first and then CISA, and then so on. So in my case, because I was not educated to that extent, and there was no internet when I started all these activities, so I did not have that much knowledge at that particular moment in time. So all these came much later, and maybe for anyone, if this question is asked me today, or if the choice I have to do it today, I will start with CIA first, complete. I will take 2-3 years. I have been able to apply this knowledge whatever I have studied. Then I can go for the remaining courses, whether it is, then there is no priority, it is for your choice, whether it is CFE or whether it is CISA or CRMA, because CRMA is more for risk management, and if you are asked to take up that, and it also depends upon the level in which you are in the organization, and also because all these certifications, what you need to understand is that this is not a certification which will make you excellent. It will give you the basic minimum. Subsequently, you have to apply this knowledge, then only this will be part of your DNA. It's not that you just pass this examination and you know everything about it. You need to apply this knowledge, what you are in. All these certifications are like that. It is not that, it is not like articleship when we are doing CA, you become a much more employable. Here, that is not the case at all.
All right, so that's very, very interesting, Mr. Mukundan. So I think that's where the continuing professional education requirements of all the institutes comes in place. And absolutely correct in what you're mentioning, and because CIA would probably cover the larger domain, it covers topics and understanding related to internal audit, enterprise risk management, cyber security, be it IT risk management, third party risk management. I think overall it is a win-win, and then people can upskill themselves into a specialized courses around that. It was lovely having this conversation, Mr. Mukundan. Thank you so much for being part of this. I hope everyone enjoyed this session. Thank you so much once again. pleasure having you, Mr. Mukundan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arpit. It has been a great pleasure to meet you as well as to talk to the audience. And definitely, I look forward for similar opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Mukundan. Thank you. Bye.